done make me shit, man. So, dude, you'll be all right.
Not helping any of us. He's definitely helping his family because for some reason his daughter was all up in the negotiations, and I don't know what her role was supposed to have been, but apparently she was all up in the negotiations.
She may have been an entertainment. I don't know. Let me not say that out loud.
Hey, I actually mentioned that to a friend of mine. I was like, it could have been the entertainment. It might have done a song and dance act for all we know.
Right, and you're just over there like, ooh, look at my daughter. Nah, dude, like we don't care about her either. You know what I mean? Like she's not helping. You're not helping. Nobody's helping. So what do you want us to do? We are not going to cheer for you because, again, what you're doing is me, look at me, look at me. And when you have individuals who are like that, you tend to ignore them now. It's like, oh, he's on this little thing again. You know what I mean?
And then he got mad at the sister, the young woman, because she basically said what a lot of our athletes have said, which is basically like, if we win and you invite us, we're not coming.
Right. So.
And then he got all upset. He's all bent out of shape, even though he's been told this. You know, it seems to me that if you've been told this several times, you would get the idea, and one, you'd stop inviting folks, and two, when you got the no, you wouldn't be tweeting about it or making other comments about it, because by now you should pretty much know what the answer is going to be.
You should know anyway. Like the majority of people will say to you, "Thanks, but hell no, we're not coming." You know. But he's still gonna. I guess it's a tradition. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't get it either. But he's gonna go there and he's gonna try to make you feel like you should be heading there and everything.
Yeah, like you should just go hide somewhere because we really don't care.
Well, apparently, a suburb in North Carolina, and I actually know this suburb, it's actually not that far from here, has been named as one of the best places to live in America.
Say that again?
But Apex, North Carolina, which is outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, was declared the best place to live in America by a national magazine in 2015. According to this couple, the Mahaffneys, were drawn to the area by its schools, affordable housing, and quaint downtown. So it says the couple found a sprawling 5-bedroom house next to a horse farm for $782,000, half the cost they would have paid in the Seattle suburbs they left behind. There's many other families had the same idea. Apex nicknamed the Millennial Mayberry is the fastest growing suburb in the U.S., according to Realtor.com, and this town is struggling to keep pace with all the newcomers. So, they're getting newcomers left and right, and now the town is trying to figure out what to do with all these people. So it says after several years of surging urban growth, Apex and suburbs like it now account for 14 of the 15 fastest growing U.S. cities with a population over 50,000. Millennials priced out of popular big cities are flocking to Frisco, Texas, Nolensville, Tennessee, Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and Scottsdale, Georgia. I have heard of none of those places, and that's what they said. They said not exactly household names, but among the fastest-growing destinations in the U.S. The back-to-the-city trend has reversed, said William Frey, a demographer at the Brookings Institute, citing last year's census data. Millennials, the generation now ages 23 to 38, are no longer as rooted as they were after the economic downturn. Many are belatedly getting married and heading to the suburbs, just as their parents and their grandparents did. What is different from the post-war boom of 1950s and 1960s is that the growth is far more selective, limited to suburbs blessed by good weather and good jobs, largely in the Sun Belt, where they are growing more than twice as fast as their neighboring cities. So looks like folks are moving to these little small towns like Apex. And says it means for every Apex area, Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is shrinking along with Cleveland's manufacturer-based economy. For every Huntersville and Cornelius, two booming suburbs outside Charlotte, there is a Glendale, Missouri, which is hobbled by the loss of St. Louis corporate anchors as Anheuser-Busch. For every Kissimmee, Florida, outside of Orlando, there is an Evanston, Illinois, which is a shedding population in tandem with Chicago. So looks like more and more people are moving to these suburb areas, and they're becoming very popular. But, of course, that also means that they got to figure out how to deal with the growth after they get it.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. But, I had I did hear the bell, so I'm hoping that's Charlie. I got to get Charlie because he can talk to us about some of the growth and everything. But I did have a conversation with a gentleman that I met on the bus. I've actually seen him twice, but we talked, I guess, maybe 3 or 4 days ago. He was telling me that one of our apartment complexes here, and he's doing the building, I want to say that he said the one bedrooms are going for somewhere around $1,700 to $2,000. So about the size of a car, but they're going for that kind of price. And I think he said the 2 bedrooms were going for like $2,500 or something like that.
Bruh, $1,700 to $2,000 for 1 bedroom?
Well,
you're better off going to buy a damn house. But there are going to be a whole bunch of people who are going to say, you know what? Nah, I'll go ahead and rent. It's the mindset now, I guess. There's nothing wrong with renting. But for that price, you better off trying to find you a nice little house. You can find one. You just don't need to get the one with the 8 bedrooms and the 4 bathrooms and, stay within your means. You'll be fine, but I guess it's different now. Maybe.
Yeah, it must be a different attitude. Yeah. Did I hear the bell earlier?
Yeah, you did hear the bell, and we're going to get to it in just 1 second.
Are you enjoying the smoothest conversation in podcasting? Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. Hi, this is DJ Smooth Jazz, syndicated radio host and co-owner of Portfolio Group LLC, your smooth jazz lifestyle and entertainment group with offices in Durham, North Carolina. Portfolio Group LLC specializes in promoting the lifestyle of smooth jazz listeners with the promotion of smooth jazz events and the distribution of African American-owned wines. For more information, portfoliogroupllc.com, or you can swing by my secondary site, djsmoothjazz.com. Now back to Straight Talk with Dean and Mark.
And we're back. Caller, let us know who you are and where you're calling from. Welcome this evening.
Hey, this is Charlie Reese in Durham, North Carolina. How are you today?
Hey,
all right,
Charlie,
how are you?
Good, you could call. Charlie is one of our political candidates. We've had the pleasure of having both Jillian Johnson on, and we've had the pleasure of having Javier on. They are actually putting together a ticket, which I did not realize. I guess the ticket also includes, because all 4 of you are going to this event on, I think it's later this week or later this month, together with the mayor. So is the mayor part of this ticket now? I was not quite sure what was going on there, because I saw his name was on the list along with the 3 of you. So is the mayor part of this ticket that is put together now as well?
Yeah, Bull City Together is what we're calling the joint policy platform that the 3 of us have put together over the last 6 months or so. And our 3 campaigns support that common platform. We're doing a bunch of campaign events around that platform. The mayor has not signed on yet, but he will be attending our filing party kickoff Friday at 11:30 at Black Wall Street Gardens. That's just basically across the street from the Board of Elections, and then I think the 4 of us are going to go over and fill out our paperwork to run for office this year.
And what actually got you to decide you wanted to run for office? And we were just talking before you got on. Well, first we were talking to some blues artists, but then we were just talking, me and Dean, about how Apex is growing by leaps and bounds, and apparently it's all because of some of the gentrification that's been going on in places like Durham and Raleigh. So now they're trying to figure out what to do with all of this growth that they've got. But I was wondering, was that the housing issue? Is that one of the issues that has caused you to want to run for this office? And what are some of the other issues that are important to you?
Absolutely. No, I think, my wife and I moved to Durham in 2007, just before we got married, and both of our daughters are being born and raised in the city. And what we've seen over the last 10 years is a city that's really changing underneath our feet. And one of the things that pushed me to run for public office in 2015, when I was first elected to the city council, was the idea that local government can't solve every problem, but the areas where we can make a difference, we really have to try. And so I've spent the last 4 years pushing, prodding, and cajoling the city administration to devote a considerable more time, energy, passion, and perhaps most importantly, money to preserve and create new homes that are affordable to working families in Durham. And so that's one of the main reasons I ran for public office. That's one of the main reasons I'm running for re-election. We're going to have a bond referendum on the ballot in November that would authorize the city to borrow $95 million over the next 5 years. Most of that money will go toward renovating the Durham Housing Authority communities in and around the downtown core, and that's the really the core of the lowest cost affordable housing for poor folks in Durham. The bond will do a lot of other things, but that's one of the reasons I'm running for re-election, is because I want to make sure that this bond passes, that it's done right, and that we have the right kind of oversight about how the money is spent and what we're buying with it. But a lot of things influenced me to run for public office. I was always also really interested in making sure that Durham had the kind of economy that doesn't leave folks out who've traditionally been left out of economic development. And so that's another thing we've been pushing really hard on over the next 4 years. We're going to continue to make progress in the coming years as well.
Yeah, because one of the things that I was really shocked about, and I talked to Dean about this right before the first guest came on and everything, was I had gone to a rally. I actually saw Jillian at the rally as well as Zach Hawkins. There was a block party / rally revolving around domestic workers and some of the things that they have to go through and everything. And when I heard that lady, and I was telling Dean about this on the show earlier, talking about that she was living off of $7.50 an hour, I'm sitting there going like, I don't know anybody that can make it off of $7.50 an hour. And I know that we're also trying to get our fast food workers up to $15 an hour, but just $7.50 an hour seems almost next to impossible. And this was not a woman that didn't have kids of her own. So I mean, we're not talking like just $7.50 just by yourself would be hard enough, but
incredible.
We're talking $7.50 is what she's using to be able to try to live while raising her own family.
Well, when it comes to wages, this entire country has not kept up with the cost of living in terms of our minimum wage. And in North Carolina, and especially in Durham, the situation is even more dire because the cost of housing has increased considerably over the last number of years, and wages just haven't kept up. The General Assembly prevents local governments like the city of Durham from creating a local minimum wage, so we have to go by the state minimum wage. But what the city can do, and what we have done, is pay our workers, the workers that work for the city of Durham, a living wage. And so 2 years ago, we passed a minimum living wage ordinance for city workers. At the time, it only applied to full-time workers, but with the upcoming budget that we just approved 2 weeks ago, we got our part-time workers included in that as well. A really important step for the city, I think, to put our money where our mouth is. We talk a lot. All of us on the city council as politicians, we talk a lot about paying workers a living wage. We criticize, big multinational companies like McDonald's for paying, slave wages essentially to their employees who work long hours, who've been there for many years. How can we do that with a straight face and not pay our own workers, all of our workers, including our part-time workers, a minimum, a living wage? And so that's going to happen this year. The Durham City minimum wage for city workers is $15.46 an hour. It's indexed to inflation, so it goes up a little bit every year. And with the coming budget, our part-time workers will be included with our full-time workers so that we can actually say with a straight face that we support living wages in the city of Durham. That we can't make that the rule for every employer in Durham, although I would vote for that tomorrow if we could. But I think we can lead by example in this marketplace and in this labor market. We can say this is what employers should be doing. This is what workers should expect. And we're really putting our money where our mouth is in this budget, and I'm really proud of that.
Definitely. And, Charlie, what actually got you involved in politics? Were you always somebody that was politically motivated? I know that Jillian I think she said that she might have gotten involved when she was, I remember definitely meeting her during the Occupy movement and everything, and definitely know that she was involved in that and has definitely been part of other organizations that were politically motivated. And I think she might have even done some activism type work when she was a college student and everything. But what about yourself? What was the driving factor to get you into politics? And were you always into politics? Did you have family members that were into politics? Or is this something that is new to your family history and family lineage?
Yeah, no, my family's never been involved in politics. My parents were 16 and 17 years old when I was born, and they graduated from high school with me in the audience. So politics wasn't really in their worldview, and I ended up being the first person in my family to go to college. And so I never had any family members that were involved in politics. I got interested in it when I was in college. I went to college I went to Harvard for college, and spent a summer volunteering for